Hello, everyone. My name is Vladimir Valouch, and I'm here today to guide you through the introduction to Android layouts. So let's start with the beginning. The beginning for us would be at least a tiny bit about the theory. For the theory, I would go directly to official documentation, which I would recommend to each and every one of you. It's really well written, it's detailed. So let's go here and dive in. What are the layouts? Layouts defines the structure of user interface. The way how you can look at it is that layout is something what you use in order to place your elements in your app. What you need to know is that the declaration of the layout is hierarchical. So you always have one root element, which is usually your base layout. Then you can either add your views or additional layouts. The layout itself is defined in XML. So here is an example. You always need to define the version. You can define what are the XML namespace that you are using. You always need to define what is the layout width and layout height. As you can see, and I will try to pinpoint it right now. In this particular case, linear layout is the root element of a screen. We are using match parent in both cases so that we ensure that the root element, the root layout, is as high and as width as the screen where it will be displayed. The next element, which is being defined here, is a text view. That's a simple view where you can just type in and show the text, or a classic button, which is clickable. What is important about linear layout is this property, which says the orientation. Linear layout takes care about ordering of the items. So if we have a text view and button defined in this way, it will be also displayed in this way. So the first at the top of your screen will be the text view, and right below it, there will be the button. Text view has multiple properties. One of the most important ones is the ID. That's the reason why I'm clicking on it. This is the way how you can actually access this element later on from the code. And again, each and every view or layout element needs to have its own layout width and layout height. Here we are using wrap content, which simply means that the text view will be as big on a screen as its own content. That's the second way how you can actually define the size of the element. The third way would be to use the DP, density points, which actually says in a hard way how big the element will be. Don't worry, I will guide you through, and I will also later on show it how it looks like in the programming, in the code. Another important thing is that you might be wondering, oh, I have here my layout XML. The layout XML itself being bind to the activity through this set content view call. This is important, and as I mentioned, ID is giving you the opportunity to later on search for the button in the code. I will be speaking today mostly about linear layout, but there are way more layouts. The most frequently used ones are linear layout and relative layout. Those are super simple ones, easy to use. Don't be worried. This is just starting lesson, so we will go through this easy linear layout, but later on we will also show you how to use constraint layout, which is helping you to avoid of too deep tree in drawing your items. And I will actually show you what is the problem later on. This way, I did a basic introduction of what are the layouts. Here is, again, a link to additional resources. Feel free to reach out to us on the Slack channel. I will share the links also there. Here You have extra information, and let's deep dive to the code. So I have here my linear layout project. It's a simple base activity, which I've just opened. And as you can see, if you would like to create a new one, all you need to do is to just file new project and create an empty activity. It will look like this with Hello World. But let's go and let's test out the linear layout. The easiest way how to find our linear layout, okay, it's open here, but I will also show you how to find it. If you are using Android view, then it's relatively simple. Just click on resources, layout, and activity main XML. You're here. It will try to actually initialize the designer. In this particular moment, we are not going to use it. So let's just here on the top left or top right corner, click on a code. And here we will see the exactly same XML or almost same XML as we saw previously in the documentation. The first step, or the first thing which I will do, I will replace this constraint layout with our linear layout for the sake of this lesson. You could have seen that I've just written down LINE, and Android Studio immediately offered me the linear layout itself. So you do not need to type everything. Let's do a little bit more polishing. We won't, because we are using linear layout, we won't need information about constraints. And again, let me repeat, we are defining the layout with this linear layout is our root element, and we want our root element to be as big as the screen itself in this particular case. So we are setting it to match parent. We have here our first text view, which is saying hello world, and we are wrapping the content. We will add one more. And so that we can distinguish them, I just added number 2. The next thing what we need to also add, because we are using linear layout, is to provide the orientation. The orientation is telling how the items will be ordered. So I will use the vertical. And in order to make it bit more interesting and try to more things, I will, here I'm wrapping the whole content. Here the layout width will be set to just 10 density points. And let's run the application. The expectation is that we will see hello world, and below with we will see whatever is possible to be displayed from hello world to. Okay. And as we had our wrap content, of course, we did not limit the height. So you can see how well Android can actually solve the things directly for you, even if you are not specifying it. If I would limit also this to 20 dp, density points, this I hard-coded the maximum dimension for this text view. And of course, in this particular case, I will definitely already lose some part of the code or code text, which should be visible. All right, I see just hello, age. Let's make it 100 so that we will see it later on. This was just to show you what are the density points for. What we would like to also test out is to play with even more items than just 2. So let me add 2 more. World 3, world 4, and again, if I will run the application, we will see that we have everything nicely aligned below each other. Okay, the build is running, application starting. And we have here everything. I have mentioned the orientation a few times, so let's see what will happen if I will change the orientation to horizontal. I just changed it. And the expectation would be that instead of having each and every item below each other, they should be next to each other. So let's have a look. And surprise, surprise. Wow, everything is as I said and as we expected. We were also mentioning that there is a possibility to have multiple linear layouts or multiple layouts inside each other. So let's test it out. What I will do, I will add a linear layout, the width, because I want to sort of simplify it for myself. I will say that it should match the parent, and the height will be wrapping the content, which would be, I believe, more than enough for this particular case. What I will definitely do, and what I want to show is that the orientation can be changed. You do not need to follow the same orientation for each and every one. So my top layout will be ordering everyone below each other, and this one will put stuff next to each other. Here I can, for example, create a button. Again, it's relatively straightforward and similar. Do not be worried to use it. I will add some text. This text will be button 1. By the way, you see that I'm filling the text right here. Don't be worried. We will show you in further lessons how to move this hard-coded values to some variables, or how to move them to resources so that it can be automatically translated for you. So why I have 2 buttons. Let's run it. And you see I have my button 1. The beautiness about Android is that it's automatically adding the default theme so that the button has this nice animation over it. So let's try one more thing. Let's say that we would like this button to be exact, that the distribution of the button should be exactly the same, that they should not be appended to each other. The way how we can do it, we will use layout weight sum. So I will just type sum when I'm using linear layout, and I will say 2, which means that I am expecting 2. That's the maximum value, and you can say what is the weight of each and every element. So if you say that the weight is 1, 1, and 1, and the total is 2, it will be simply 50% for one button, 50% for another button. Again, have a look. Voila, and my buttons are exactly as big as I allow them to be. Very similar way I can apply also at the top. So if I will type here sum, I will put here 4. What I would like to show is that you don't need to treat it equally. There might be elements on your screen which you would like to make more important. So for example, what I'm going to do here is that I will give layout weight of 2 right to the first text view. My weight sum is 4, which in theory means that weight sum or layout weight of 1 is 25% of a screen. Here I will put weight of 1. And here I would like to show you that it doesn't need to be the full size. And also what you will see here, I'm not in this linear layout, I'm in this other one. I'm not specifying the layout weight. So what will happen, everything left from 4, so 4 minus 2 minus 1 minus 0.5 will be left for the linear layout. Let's have a look. And as we can see, 50% was taken by the first element, 25% by the other, and then 12.5% is for this text view, Hello World free, and also the buttons. With this said, we are at the end of our lesson. I will just quickly reiterate what we went through. Today, we went through the introduction to Android layout. The most frequently known layouts are linear layout, relative layout, and constraint layout. Today, we were mostly focusing on linear layout. Layout itself is XML structure, which helps you to arrange the views. As you can see, you can just go with mouse over and you will see all the documentation. It's allowing you to arrange all the views on the screen. You can, into linear layout, put multiple items. Make sure that you are always specifying the orientation in the way you want it. You can use vertical or horizontal. You can input multiple layouts inside each other. Though, if you will try to create too deep hierarchy, the loading of the screen might be painfully slow. So be aware of it. Nevertheless, for these simple examples, it's more than enough. For each layout item, you need always to define what is the layout width, what is the layout height. You have multiple options. The first one is match parent, so as big as parent. Wrap content, which means that simply it's going to wrap only the exactly size of this text. You can specify the layout weight if you are using linear layout. And that's it for today. So see you soon and happy coding.